It had been 7 long years since Alina last heard Adrian's voice or felt the warmth of his touch. 7 years since she had seen the playful smirk that always danced on his lips. One crisp autumn evening, he was there beside her, laughing, holding her hand, talking about the future. And the very next day, he vanished. No warnings, no goodbyes, no explanations. His phone was disconnected. His apartment empty. No trace of an accident, no record of a departure. It was as if Adrian had been erased from existence. People whispered. Some said he had simply walked out, another man scared of commitment. But those who thought that didn't know Adrian. They didn't understand the way he looked at Alina, how he would trace the back of her hand with his fingers when she was anxious, or how he promised forever like he meant every second of it. The silence he left behind was deafening. Alina tried to move on. She tried to sleep without crying, to laugh without guilt. But how do you move on when a part of your heart is still waiting at the edge of a memory? Every October 15th, the day he disappeared, she returned to Maple Park. There was a bench they used to sit on, carved with a plaza in crooked, youthful letters. It was where Adrian first told her he loved her. Where he swore they'd grow old together. Every year, she sat alone on that bench, hoping. Not really expecting anything, but refusing to let go entirely. This year, as she sat in the cold breeze, something unusual caught her eye, a small envelope, taped underneath the bench. Her heart skipped. It was weathered but intact. Her name was written on it, in handwriting she'd recognize in any lifetime. Adrian's. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The letter inside was short but filled with the kind of truth that shattered and mended her at once. Alina, if you're reading this, then I didn't make it back. Or maybe I did, but couldn't stay. I don't know how long it's been. I just know I couldn't leave without telling you everything. I never stopped loving you, not for 1 second. I disappeared to protect you. I had no choice. She gasped. Tears filled her eyes. That night, I found out something I was never supposed to know. My brother, he wasn't who you thought he was. He was involved in dangerous things. I overheard something I shouldn't have. Suddenly, I became a threat. They warned me. Then they threatened you. I had to leave, Alina. It was the only way to keep you safe. Her breath caught in her throat. Adrian's brother, Mark? He had always seemed intense. Controlling, even. But dangerous? I never wanted to go. Every day away from you has been torture. I hoped someday you'd find this letter. If you're reading it now, remember this, I loved you with every beat of my heart. I still do. The world around her blurred as she cried. After all the confusion, all the heartbreak, finally, a piece of the truth. She clutched the letter to her chest, unable to move. When she finally pulled herself together, she went straight to Daniel, Adrian's best friend, now working as a private investigator. She hadn't seen him in years, but he was the only one she trusted. She handed him the letter, her voice trembling. He read it in silence. When he looked up, his expression was grim. I always knew something didn't add up, he said quietly. I didn't think Mark would go that far. But this changes everything. Within days, Daniel began an investigation. He pulled old surveillance footage, made calls, tracked Adrian's bank accounts, travel history, anything. And then, 2 weeks later, he came to Alina with a breakthrough. A man resembling Adrian had been spotted on a pharmacy security camera in a remote town in Montana, just 6 months ago. The image was blurry, but it was him. It had to be. Alina and Daniel traveled to the town immediately. They followed every lead until it took them to a cabin in the woods, isolated and falling apart. Inside, there was no one. Just silence, and a single piece of paper beneath a loose floorboard. Daniel, I knew you'd bring her. I wanted to stay, but I couldn't. They're still watching. I've moved again. Tell her I love her. Always. And tell her I'm sorry. Her heart sank. He was so close, and yet still so far. But Alina wasn't giving up. She remembered Adrian's favorite book, The Alchemist, the story of a man who traveled far and wide, only to realize what he was looking for was always close to home. Could Adrian have left one more clue? Could he have returned to where it all began? 1 week later, Alina returned to Maple Park. She sat on the same bench, watching the golden leaves fall. Minutes passed. Then an hour. She told herself it was foolish to hope. She was about to leave, when she saw him. He stood at a distance, unsure, thinner than she remembered but unmistakably Adrian. Their eyes met, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Slowly, she stood. Neither of them spoke at first. Then, Adrian whispered, "Alina." She ran into his arms, sobbing. "You came back." "I never really left," he said. "I've been watching from a distance. Waiting. But I couldn't stay away any longer." They held each other, hearts beating like drums of war and love and pain and relief. He told her everything, how he'd lived in hiding, how he watched her from afar every year at Maple Park, how Daniel's investigation had finally forced Mark into custody, freeing Adrian from his nightmare. That night, under a starlit sky and the whisper of wind in the trees, they sat on their bench and talked until morning. They spoke of pain and healing, of lost years and second chances. Love, real love, never dies. It may hide. It may suffer. But it lives on, waiting patiently, painfully. For the moment it can breathe again. If this story touched your soul, don't just leave it here. Like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Love. Every day, we share stories that remind you how deep, messy, and beautiful love can be. Tap the bell icon and never miss a whisper, because here, love speaks.